Great, let's go.
So good morning, everybody. So before we start, let's make some recap. Yeah. So yesterday, what happened is that we have a speaker talk about factory for the futures. So we talk about Industry 5.0. Yeah. And this morning we talk about innovation. We talk about some science fiction in the past that will soon become reality, and some kind of efficiency in our logistical support and stuff like that. So my task today is to basically to have all those thoughts and ideas and to showcase some of the example that a business leader like myself put that together into our practical application in the manufacturing operations. So I'm from Mars. So I think before we start, let's give a little bit of introduction of where we are. So we are a factory in King Abdullah Economic City. So one of those economic cities that has been identified as a focus area in Factory for the Futures, as presented yesterday. So when we started, so we make a choiceful decision on how our future factory will look like. We started right in a way that we don't allow any of our waste goes to the landfill. Yeah? And we are choiceful enough to put some kind of automation to make sure that we can basically optimize our resources. And also we thought about, well, we have to use all those natural refrigerants. So we phased out all those non-natural refrigerants as a starting point. With all those things that we have basically put together, so we have been identified and certified as the first factory in Saudi Arabia to get LEED Gold Award way back in 2014. Yeah? And year on year, we go and we grow our business and we extend some kind of application and technology. So we stood here today with 79 associates that working under the factory. Yeah? And we've also been supported by about 50 contractors. Some of them are seasonal to manage the operation, and we make chocolates, yeah, for the consumers in Saudi and also beyond Saudi in the Gulf. And we are proud to say, if you look at the populations that we have worked together since 2014, so we have now 18 of them are female. So we have 10 female operators working in the factory. And the total number of Saudization in our factory is about 62%. Yeah? Yes, we are so proud about Saudization, but at the same time, we cherish diversity. So we have about 10 different nationalities working together to make chocolates. Yeah? And another thing about 10 years is basically we are going to celebrate our 10-year anniversary in September. Yeah? So this is where we are now. And as a business, and yesterday we talked about Industrial 5.0. So I think the element that we're going to touch base now is how to create that kind of experience, a good experience of our associates. And we are focusing a lot on how to create Mars Factory as a healthy work site. And we have been certified as a gold site in our factory today. Yeah. So this is a bit of our journey. And next, as a business leaders, the expectation from us is not just about how to create that volumes, how to basically make profits, and how to look nice in our P&L. The business has asked us now to look at how can we impact our community? How can we build capabilities? And what kind of a legacy that we're going to create as our leaders for today? And with the assets that we have, the facilities and resources that we have, how do we ensure that our operations are going to contribute to a healthy planet? And what are the things that we are going to do with our community? Yeah? So these are the things that the business asks us as the business leaders today to move forward, not just to look at how we're going to grow and the business, how to create profitabilities. And if you look at this, if you understand why the strategy behind all these needs is because we want to sustain our business, sustainable in generation. We want to ensure that our presence in this country is going to be for a long run. Yeah. And that's why, so we are focusing on sustainability as part of our business, as a bigger picture. And yesterday, one of the audience asked the panel, yes, we still have a struggle to utilize the renewable energy. Yeah, it's still costly. It's still not kind of accessible. Yes, we accept that as a fact, but sustainability is a long journey. Before we come to that, which is on the end part of it, so there are many things that we can look at. We can look at our current operation and see what are the things that we can further optimize and make efficiency by simple things like basically encouraging our associates to do the best practices, to have a good mindset and behavior, to be concerned and have to be awareness. And then the assets that we have after 10 years of running, so some of them require a certain kind of revamp. Because if we don't do that, these are losses that are going to create as we produce chocolates. And today we talk about a lot of innovations. So some of the innovation need to be assessed. And we have to make a choiceful decision what kind of innovation is going to be applied to our operations. And then only, so we can use the tailwind from the government to support our energy utilization in our factory. So this is basically the strategy that we have in terms of sustainability. And it's a step that we need to do a little bit more systematic. Yeah? So for example, it's an evolution, it's a life cycle, and it's not a transformational project. Yeah? So it started with how we organize ourselves to succeed and how we know where we are and where are we going to go next, and how to take actions and how to basically review and report. So these are the 4 phases that is important to make one life cycle of sustainability journeys for a manufacturing operations. We start with the first one, organize for success. The key message here is be intentional. Talk about sustainability. Get the right people involved in our sustainability journey. And then we have to basically make sure that there's a clear roles and responsibility. Make it documented, make it visualized. And whatever that we're going to do in the factory, sustainability must be part of the initial thoughts. Sustainability in generation by design. So that we will basically decide, if you want to have a new product, is the packaging materials going to be sustainable? And how we're going to manage the waste and so on and so forth. So these are the thoughts that we encourage our associates to think before anything started. And finally, leadership commitment is very important, especially in the organization, in the country, in Saudi now, where people are moving around. So in order for us to sustain the leadership and to make sure that whenever leadership changes, so our sustainability agenda and focus are not going to be compensated. So that's why we need to have a strong demonstration of site leadership commitment, and it has to be displayed. Yeah? So whoever comes in, whoever goes out, is still stay there for us to continue focus on. So this is basically the organization on success, and at the same time, so we have to know where we are. This is a very important step, yeah? Because there's so many things that we can choose from, the technology that we have today. Yeah? The important thing is basically we need to assess where we are. So we need to have a good measuring equipment to make sure that every single equipment that we have, we know how much consumptions they are using and what kind of waste do they have. And we have to also use certain kind of tools to make sure that this can be visualized. So here we have something like we call 𝐒𝐚𝐻 diagrams, that we know what are the things that comes in and what are the things that we produce, and in between what are the things that is being wasted as emission, as waste, as either solid or water. And once we have everything visualized, we have to collect some data to know where is our base load. Because sometimes when we perceive as being busy producing, but sometimes we don't produce, but our energy is still being consumed. The conveyor belt is still running. The air condition is still not being optimized. The lightings are not being switched off. So these are the things that we need to understand. Where are the idle load that is there? And what our task is basically to bring down our base load so that whenever we produce, all energy that we consume are for value for money for our consumers. So and just like any other business, so we need to structure ourselves in a way that we have to have a clear targets. We have to do a lot of benchmarking to understand, is there any other hidden opportunity that we missed along the way? And in Saudi, water is still an issue. Yeah? So we need to basically be conscious about how much water we use to clean our equipments. And when we have wastewater, how are we going to treat that? And there are certain things that we need to organize so that we can keep on tracking our performance and also to deploy in the right way. And the most important here in terms of knowing where we are is to be familiar with our equipment's conditions. Yeah, because these are the potential losses that not just talking about losing in terms of energy, but also in terms of safety and also quality. So we need to reflect on our equipment and we need to do it with the right rigor. So year on year, we can basically revamp, we can do some kind of conditioning, and we can even think about investment or replacement some of our equipments. So once we are clear about where we are, what are the gaps that we have, now we can sit down and make a plan. Yeah? As Mars, we are a global company, so we have an ambitious target to get net zero by 2040, and that is our drive. And from there, we look at where we are now, and we start to make our 5 years roadmap. And once we have that, so we also need to get the buy-ins. So the best way to do it, to get the workshop, to get the right people in the room. And our philosophy is that 10 associates who are passionate is better than one person or one consultant. So we get all these people involved from cross-functional to talk about opportunities, to assess on the situation that we have, and from there we can have a sustainability master plan, and that must be linked with our factory master plan. So this is how it looks like once we finish the assessment and we know where we are. So this is where we are now. And these are all the initiatives that we are planning to put in place. Some of them has been materialized in terms of getting operational efficiency. And then there are a couple of technologies that we are assessing, and also some kind of innovative things that we are thinking on the line. And also how to basically look at renewable energies that we have. And here, the next is take actions. Yeah? So first, the low-hanging fruits, all the idle loads, attack that and make it better so that we can have a base load as low as possible. And we use a benchmark as a global practice, understand where we are. And being in Saudi, we have to understand there are seasonality factors. In summer, we are in winter, the base load keep on changing. So we have to be aware of all the factors that surround us in our environment. So scanning at the factories, yeah, so we have equipments that produce and convert, and we also have utilities. So we have to give a right focus. Oftentimes, most industries, they don't pay enough attention to their utilities. Yeah? And because of that, this is where most of the big spenders or big consumers are taking place. So we need to basically have all the listing of the equipment, and every single equipment, there is certain assessment. There's a risk, there's opportunity that we need to create. And once we have that done, that exercise, we will realize there are so many common things that we can basically gather, yeah? And we can basically leverage that and have an exponential results. And sometimes we got stuck, yeah, on certain things. So reach out to certain things, certain consultancy and certain kind of sites that can help us to do some kind of benchmark to get us to have a better improved system. So the last piece on our cycle is basically to have a review and report. So it's very important for us to spend some time to look at the past report. Most companies, they invest a lot, but they don't realize what are the investment that has been done over the years. Yeah? We also have some bad experience. For example, we have a solar tubes that has been installed when we started, but then after realized that when we look at the results that we have, it doesn't do much. What happened? Yeah? So this is where it's important for us to basically look at the past performance to make sure that we are always on track, and there are certain things that we need to change. Reporting timelines is very important because it has to be part of our operations. We have to allow our associates to have that kind of conversation about sustainability challenge on a shift basis, daily basis, weekly basis, and monthly basis, so that the conversation will keep on going and people get involved and excited about it. And from time to time, we need to share what we have. So we have to put things together, create some kind of playbook, share with pride, and along the way, we find something that we need to recognize and allow that to happen. Recognize the initiative on sustainability as much as any other fronts. So this is the cycle. As we go, the cycle needs to be iterated. Yeah? So sustainability is a long journey that requires us to have a strong purpose, consistency, and focus, because the challenge is going to be long. Yeah? And then we need to basically show and demonstrate resilience. So these are a couple of things that for me is very important for sustainability. We need to recognize our associates, celebrate every milestone that we achieve and be proud, because as a human beings, they themselves, we ourselves, need to be energized. And sometimes we look at sustainability and we are so involved into it, so it comes into us. Yeah. Personally, so